The UFC is the best of the best when it comes to mixed martial arts. Not all the fighters earn millions of dollars, some barely hit six figures, but the top dogs make as much as any other elite athletes, even more. Due to the UFC not disclosing full fighter paychecks, pay-per-view percentages, bonuses, etc., it's hard to determine how much UFC fighters get paid. Luckily, most fighters have more or less consistent pay, so we can make estimates and ultimately break down precise figures. Here are the top 10 highest paid UFC fighters in career salaries only in the UFC, excluding all other sources of income. Number 10. Donald Cerrone, $7,025,800. It's only right that the man with the most UFC records is in the top 10 on this list. Although he was never the champion, Donald Cerrone earned every penny he earned, fighting as much as 5 times a year, always ready to put on a show. He got just over $7 million disclosed through his career. While he certainly got the most money from his UFC 246 main event against Conor McGregor when you include pay-per-view numbers. Although Cowboy claims he got $0 from pay-per-view in that fight, his highest earning fight per disclosed pay came against Al Iaquinta in 2019, where he got $410,000. Number 9. Georges St Pierre, $7,037,000. Although Georges St Pierre was one of the best MMA fighters ever to grace the octagon, he was never a huge pay-per-view draw, as his fights usually went the distance. If there hadn't been that final Michael Bisping fight where GSP took the middleweight gold, he'd be at least 10 spots down on this list. He earned just over $7 million in disclosed paychecks throughout his career, and around $2.6 million out of that amount came in the last fight of his career, 4 years after he initially retired. Number 8. Junior Dos Santos, $7,110,000. Cigano is a beloved former heavyweight champion, known for his outspoken attitude and deadly striking prowess. His career got him over $7.1 million in disclosed pay, although he probably got more through pay-per-view percentages for some of his biggest fights. One of his highest paid fights was the rematch against Stipe Miocic for the heavyweight title. Although Junior Dos Santos got knocked out in the first round, he still got a bit over $800,000 for the fight. Number 7. Michael Bisping, $7,135,000. Michael Bisping got around the same amount for each of his fights from November 2009 until he became the champion 7 years later. The Count got his money through persistence and durability, as he has over 25 UFC bouts under his feet and a disclosed earning of $7,135,000. He got the most cash for his first title defense against Dan Henderson and his title loss against Georges St Pierre. Both bouts got him around $500,000 without pay-per-view shares. Number 6. Jon Jones, $7,230,000. Yes, Jon Jones got way more than $7.23 million throughout his UFC career. However, we don't know the pay-per-view shares. We only have the disclosed purses after each event. Arguably the best fighter to ever compete in the UFC deserves all his money, even though he has tons of controversy surrounding him and his illustrious career. After coming back and being quite active for a while, it seems that Bones is shooting for a big raise, as he refused to fight for over a year since his bout with Dominic Reyes at UFC 247. Rumor has it, he wants a shot at heavyweight gold, which would definitely get his career salary way above the current amount. Number 5. Anderson Silva, $8,732,000. For a long time, Anderson Silva was the face of the UFC and MMA in general. He was simply unbeatable and incredibly entertaining, but he started making real money only after losing his belt. His first fight against Chris Weidman was the first to get $600,000 for showing up, and the same amount continued until his retirement. His biggest payout came at UFC 208, when he got $820,000 for beating Derek Brunson. The usual $600,000 to show up, $20,000 from the Reebok sponsorship, and an additional $200,000 for the win. Number 4. Andrei Arlovski, $9,844,000. Andrei Arlovski being so high up on this list might come as a surprise to most fans, especially the young fans that haven't watched the Pitbull in his prime. Indeed, a good chunk, around $3 million, of Arlovski's career earnings came from a few fights in between his UFC gigs, most notably a $1.5 million fight against Fedor Emelianenko in 2009 under Affliction. However, even if you take away those few fights, Andrei would still be around $7 million in UFC career pay without PPV numbers, which would only put him down a few spots on this list. He got his money with longevity, earning well over $300,000 in his last 10 career bouts. Number 3. Alistair Overeem, $10,204,500. If we were to disclose the salary of every bout that Alistair Overeem ever fought in outside of the UFC, the $10.2 million would probably double. Still, breaking $10 million in disclosed pay for a UFC fighter is so rare. Only 2 other guys managed to do so, without pay-per-view numbers, of course. Most of that money came with a huge contract the Reem signed with the UFC from May 2016 to November 2018. Alistair got at least $800,000 for each of the 7 bouts in that span, getting him half the money he earned throughout his UFC tenure. Number 2. Khabib Nurmagomedov, $14,770,000. For a guy that lost only a round or 2 in his career, let alone a fight 29-0, it's no wonder that Khabib Nurmagomedov is right at the top of this list. However, he earned a whopping 92.9% of his career earnings in his last 3 fights, starting with the Conor McGregor bout at UFC 229. He should have made $2 million for that fight, but ended up paying $500,000 for the post-fight incident. How he maltreated McGregor finally showed the UFC how much he's worth, so he got paid $6 million for each of his next 2 fights to show, plus $90,000 each fight for incentive pay and post-fight bonuses. Pay-per-view numbers were never disclosed, but it's not wild to guess they were way bigger than $6 million. Number 1. Conor McGregor, $20,102,000. The number 1 spot goes to UFC's golden boy, Conor McGregor. He's the guy who earned the promotion by far the most money throughout history, so it's only fair that he's the highest paid UFC fighter in history. Every fighter that fought him got paid the most they ever got in their careers. Red Panty Night. So whether you love him or hate him, McGregor is a business genius. The $20 million in disclosed salaries is nothing compared to what he got from pay-per-view percentages, but we'll never know for certain. There's no way to know for sure, but he claimed he earned a good $50 million from the Nurmagomedov fight and a staggering $80 million against Donald Cerrone in his next fight. So guys, that was it for this video. What did you think about our video? Let us know in the comments section below. If you are new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell to get notified about our latest videos. Thanks for watching.